Hi. Hey, good to see you guys here. Chris and Susan, Joe, Ken. I know Kathy and Anthony were also hoping they could make it tonight. Here we are at Transaction Review and Calculator Practice, July 2015. Personally, I don't know where half the year went already. I'm going to try to unmute everybody here as I usual. Can anyone describe what happened to the first half of the year?
It just evaporated.
That's what I'm saying. Crazy. So I've had dealings with a few members in this week. It's been great. Tell me oh, Chris and Susan, can you guys speak at all? You have a mic? Okay, I was gonna email you guys, but just didn't quite get to it today. That property went to trustee sale today. And we had someone bid at the opening bid, which is great. Someone else gets to deal with the cash for keys deal. So I'm assuming that I'll get a check from the trustee, I don't know, next week sometime. So just to let you know, I expect in the next couple of weeks to sort of take care of that that deal up near Portland that we did. So just to let you know, that's all done. Hooray.
Well, that's nice that it all turned out fine for everybody.
It sure did. I'm assuming the buyers are happy too because how many months of free rent have they got? And now whoever bought it's going to have to give them cash for keys just to get them out. Apparently they're just sitting in there fine and dandy, not even looking like they're preparing to move or anything. So
That's tragic when people can get away with doing that.
yeah, so anyway, that's when I'm super glad that we bought a partial, right?
That is correct. Partials are a good deal.
Yeah. So the guy who put those borrowers in is the one who's going to take the heat if there's any money to be lost, which in my mind is fair. He's the one that underwrote the deal and put someone in there that, didn't have the emotional maturity or financial strength to actually pull the deal off. So if any of the hit's going to be taken, it's going to be taken by that guy. So to me, that's fair.
Well, we'll be looking to buy another couple of notes with you then.
Okay, good. Ken, what's going on with you?
How you doing, Don? We're just trying to decide whether or not we're going to be selling our personal residence. So we were like you, we're possibly moving not too far from the area, but closer to our grandkids. So we might be selling the house in the next maybe couple of months.
Oh, wow, that's big news.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so what's making you the timing wise, like why now? I mean, you've had grandkids
Because
for a
the
while.
market here in Burlingame is just unbelievable, and it's a seller's market, and they're just overbidding everything. And we just feel that we can get a lot more bang for our buck going about probably less than 50 miles and, just having more of a house, less of a house payment. Sort of maybe what you did as far as going from the Los Angeles area where it's crazy, and it's even crazier in Northern Bay Area here.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
So why not take advantage of these crazy, crazy buyers who are making this outrageous money who don't care what their house payment is because the interest rates are low and they're making probably $30,000 or $40,000 a month incomes. They don't care.
Right. Well, why 2 months from now? Why not today?
Well, because it's going to take time to put it on the market, stage it, get everything ready, get everything out of the house, that type of thing. We have to get our inspections. We have to find a moving company to put our current, belongings in, because we don't have another house to move to right now.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it'll be soon. It's going to be, let's put it this way here, it's going to be on the market probably in the next 2.5 weeks. And the way things are selling here in Burlingame, they're on the market for either 0 to 5 days and they're gone.
Yeah. Well, that's cool because I mean, at the worst, just negotiate time to get out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
because you know what? This craziness can't last forever. And
That's exactly right.
I
That's
I
exactly
was I was just I'm reading an article today that In Southern California, San Bernardino, and Orange counties, the inventory is up 70%.
Well,
Uh,
here it's just the opposite. It's like there is no inventory.
right. Well, all I'm saying is these are trends that are starting to peak that
Right?
we haven't seen. What that means is the cruise ship is slowly turning, um,
Absolutely.
in general. So I would, anyone who's thinking of selling, I'm always trying to get them to hurry up because
Yeah.
even as soon as this fall, I think we could see some interesting shakeups in the market. I don't know why, and I can't articulate it in a
The thing,
sensible way, but
the thing is, Don, is even if we get a little bit of a rise in interest rates, these people who are affording these houses are over $2.5 million. So we're talking about people who can afford a little bit of extra
no, I'm not.
dollars.
I'm not talking about interest rates. I'm just talking about there's a lot of really interesting global things. So, not that I'm like shutting down business or anything, but I'm more cautious now. And if anyone's thinking of selling like this year sometime, I go, well, do it now.
Yeah.
Don't wait
Okay.
because
Oh yeah.
things could be turning rather rapidly this fall potentially. I mean, there's just too many huge shifts in the works on a global scale that
Yeah.
are hard to ignore.
I'm
Uh,
sure we're going to have a contract in the next probably 25 to 30 days. So
Man,
I don't
that's
think.
really exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, one of the things that to me, what I've been doing here, well, basically for the last year, I've just been sort of moving in and continuing to do business as usual. But my intent was always, I want to do more local deals. I want to create a difference. If I'm going to live here for the last half of my life, then what legacy am I going to leave? When I'm gone. Of course, you need financial security for yourself and your loved ones to a degree, but then basically, what can I do for my larger community? So it was interesting, like having that intent, but not really doing anything profoundly significant in an outward way toward it. It just a desire. And then my landlord, they still haven't decided if they're going to sell it to us. They keep flip flopping around, but I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, to me, I'm fine with renting right now. I really am because then my capital is liquid to do other things and take advantage of things. So
Yeah.
anyway, my landlord says, I've got an employee. He's been working for me for um, 20 years. He's a really solid guy. But anyway, he saved up like $40,000. His wife's pregnant again, and they're like bursting at the seams at this like 2-bedroom rental that they've got been in for $400 a month for the last several years. So they're looking for a 3-bedroom and to buy a property. And so my landlord says, can you please help him buy a house? So it's just like it just dropped in my lap. Well, that's the kind of thing I'd want to do anyway. That sounds like fun, and now it's a favor to my landlord almost. And so I've been on the lam this week doing that, and I've just find, I mean, in without somebody else bringing up something else to talk about. And I love talking about other people's deals because I already know my own deals. But I was just gonna, go over that and what I'm thinking and why it matters to me. Although everyone on this call already knows me well enough. But I mean, there's Kathy and I are doing a deal on a partial um, right now, and Anthony and I are talking about joint venturing on a deal that he was working his hiney off on, and he lost it, and then it came back to him just in the last day or so. So I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. So does anyone else have anything that they want to talk about before I just go into talking about what's going on in my world?
No, I think your deal sounds really neat because that's what it's all about is helping other people and helping yourself at the same time.
I thank you. Thank you, Chris, because it's so funny. And I talked to one of my investors from Southern California where the reason that we met each other is because she had a listing and her clients wanted to do a 1031 exchange, and they knew me because I used to write for the local paper in my little community, and they'd saved all my articles. I didn't know this, but they'd saved all my articles. And they got an offer for owner carry, and they said to their agent, "You need to talk to Don to figure out how we can still accept an owner carry offer," because they were, like most sellers, wanted more than market value for the property, but they still wanted to be able to do the 1031. And so that's how she and I met, because she was the listing agent and I was the consultant, and we got along famously. And I turned her into being a lender, a private lender, and now she's done several deals with either private lending or buying notes. And then she's gotten tons of her friends and family involved in it. So she's like a mini. I get a deal, and sometimes you just say, any of your friends and family program want this deal, and so it's and when I told her about this, because sometimes she'll do stuff for her friends and family, they're used to getting 0 to 1%. So sometimes I can talk them into doing 7 and 8% deals when I feel like there's an emotional or like there's more juice on it than just the return. It's what you're doing in society. And so when I sent her this email about the story I'm about to tell you, she says, it's so great to make money, but you know what? In our 50s and beyond, it's not enough. I want to feel like I'm making a difference. And the story you told me about this, I will guarantee that I'm going to get you this money for this guy at below, market money rates for this stuff, because she was so inspired just by what we can do. So anyway, without further ado, then, so this guy, and I'm just going to fill it in. He comes to me and he says, "Dawn, I've got this family. I've got $40,000 cash under my mattress saved up." He's been working. He's got a full-time job, and he does side jobs on the weekend. Right now he's paying rent, $400 a month. He can afford $600 per month for P and I, and then up to basically $800 for PITI. So he can afford $750 to $800 a month, all in for his housing. And then he says, by the way, I lent $30,000 to my brother, so he could buy a house last year, and he has agreed to pay me back next year so I can finish buying my home. So they work together on this, right? And they just save cash. They work so hard and they save all this money, and they help each other buy homes and things like that. And so that's coming back next year.
Is this in your area?
It is. It's right in my, like, this guy mows my lawn.
And these houses are like around $130,000.
No, so he says, "Here's the house I want. This is the first one." And my landlord says, "Will you please help him? He's a good employee." I said, "Is he a chance of losing his job anytime in the next 10 years?" And he says, "No." Okay, so, they really were, their minds were bent completely when I asked them to carry paper when we're buying their property. When his employee, who's worked for him for 20 years or more, came up and said, "I need help buying a home. Here's an article or a house I cut out of the paper. Can you help me?" He said, "Go talk to Dawn." Right? So that's how that happened. So the first house, it was $115,000. It was listed at that by a real estate agent who also owned the property. It was a 2-and-2 mobile on land. Now, I don't know why they wanted to look at a 2-bedroom. They already have a 2-bedroom, but the land was like 0.6 acres. So it's a huge lot. And because he's like a handyman type guy, he wants a place to have his tools, a workshop, maybe build a big shed or something like that, and park his truck and all the stuff. And so after we looked at that, I go, and they like, "The house isn't big enough." And I go, "Well, no. So why did we look at this one?" And plus, that agent wants way too much for that property. He paid, in 2010, he paid $62,000 for the land, and probably, I'm guessing, no more than 5,000 for the mobile home, which is like a 73 or something. But he had it affixed to the land and is hoping to like pull whatever this is, 40,000 plus profits out of it. Now he's not going to get that. I figured that out at this point. So the next time he says, so I went and saw it. We went and saw it, and I said, if I can get him to carry, I'll just hook you up for a trade. Maybe you do my lawn after I own this house. Maybe you mow my lawn for a year for free, something like that. Because he was willing to carry. It's just that he wants way too much for the property, and it's not big enough. So the next house, it was listed at 90. It came on the market on a Sunday, brand new listing. He called me that day and said, here's this other property we want. And so I texted the listing agent and set up a meeting for Monday morning. And because he works really hard, he can't just take off during the day. He can only see things at night and then like on Sundays. So I went over there and met, and it's a way better property. It's a 3-2. Yes, it's only on 0.3 of an acre, but it's got mature fruit trees.
Is it a mobile home as well?
Yep, but it's newer. It's got garden boxes. Now, come on, this is like sustainability, right? If the whole market crashes, these are the types of people I understand that none of us can pay our bills, but can you give me a box of peaches from your backyard? What can we do? Or what can you do for me with all those skills that you have? So I'm always thinking this way, like, anyway, that's just a random sort of thing. But and then it's newer, but it's still old, right? It's something like an 80s mobile home.
So there is no land rental then, they own the land.
Yeah, it would be both, but in this case they haven't affixed it. And this is an estate sale. So the guy died in it just like a couple months ago. And so the trustee of the family trust or whatever it is trying to sell it. And they don't want to spend any money, not a dime, which I understand, right? And so it does need some work, but it's actually it's a much better part of the neighborhood. It's a much nicer home. It's much bigger. It's laid out a whole lot better. And basically, besides some roof repair, the whole roof will be repaired sometime in the next 5 years, but you could get away with minor repairs at this point, carpet.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's for 90, right? So, but they want all cash, no owner carry, because they don't want to have to go to the court and negotiate, why this whole estate isn't closing in the next, couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I did is I made an offer for 85,000 cash, knowing that I'm going to take this. And then I called him back. I said, Pancho, okay, I would only buy this for cash at this price because I think you want it. Are you sure you want it? Because I actually don't want it at this price if you don't want it, like right away. And he goes, no, we really want it. We drove by it. We walked all around in the back and we don't even care what it looks like inside. I said, actually, it's not bad inside. New carpet maybe. And he goes, we don't even care. My wife is giving birth in October. We really, really, really want to be in a new house. And he could fix everything himself. He's very capable guy. But so knowing that they want it so much made me offer more than I normally would. If I was just looking at this dispassionately, not caring, I would probably just say, here's 65,000 all cash, close in a week, take it or leave it. But I already know that he'll pay. I've worked this out where he can pay 100,000 and 35 down. I want to leave him some money. He has 40. I want to leave him some money for, fix up. And what does that leave us? Yeah, 65,000 left. And I figured out basically with the 30,000 that he'll get next year and 600 a month that he can pay for P&I, I structured this at 10% interest, which is very fair, The going rate for private money in my market here is 11% minimum with like 10 points. So, so what I do is, and then he can in less than 7 years, paying $600 per month plus taxes and insurance, and he covers all the maintenance. He can own this property free and clear because he's going to get that extra 30. And so now I'm going to get the difference between, and I don't know, I'm assuming this contract didn't get executed because by 5 o'clock tonight, which is almost an hour ago, the sellers were supposed to execute because I wrote the offer Tuesday morning and they had till tonight at 5 to accept. I'm guessing that they got all messed up around themselves going, we just put the property on the market. You must have underlisted if we're getting offers this quick, or we don't. And I let them double end it, the brokerage, even though I could, get some sort of referral fee. I just want them to be excited, the realtors, to push my deal through because I want it for my gardener. So now they don't want to give the listing agent the double side of it, the dual agency. So I'm guessing that, well, now I'm not going to offer 85 anymore. So next time I go back to this, I'll probably offer 80. Then I can give it to the guy at 95. And even after closing, like I have to pay, anyway, so just pretend like this got accepted, but it didn't as of 5 o'clock tonight. So this is what I did. I put down a $20,000 earnest money deposit. And then I was going to borrow the rest, which would have been $65,000. And I talked to my friend, Chris, who is catching the vision of not only making a decent return, but then making a difference in the market. And she says, yeah, I can find 8% money that will stay on the market for 84 months. And for me, there's a $15,000 spread in there, less closing costs, my due diligence fees or whatever. And I'm going to set it up in a land trust and then sell him the beneficial interest on the trust. And number one, it makes it so that I'm never exposed to foreclosure if something goes sideways. Number two, it protects him because he personally is not on public record and no one could ever take this house from him because he's not on public record.
Hold on 1 second, back up 1 second. 20,000, are you putting that down out of your own money or the
I did. I wrote it out of my own bank account.
Okay, so you wrote out of your own money, and then how much of that are you going to get back of that $20,000? $15,000 after it closes?
Yeah, so I'm going to put well, the reason I made it so big is because I wanted them to be excited and know that I'm serious about my offer. This is a much larger.
Who gets the extra $5,000 when you say you're going to get back $15,000 from closing or whatever?
Yeah,
is that
because
back your money.
Yeah, so I put down $20,000 and I'll get a $65,000 loan.
Right.
But I'm going to sell it to him for $100 with a $35,000 down payment. So he's going to bring this. So the difference is
$15,000
less my out-of-pocket costs, like closing costs, which are my half of escrow, the inspection fee. Maybe I do a home warranty. I don't know. That's $350. I don't know if I want. I probably don't need it because he's like a fixer guy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So who actually is owning the mobile home? If you have a land trust, doesn't he only own it at the very end of his last payment?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, it's like a layaway plan, right? And so basically, the land is going to be the name of the trustee, and so
Are
is
you doing this in an IRA account?
Nope. The mobile home title will also be owned in the name of the trustee. If we wanted to affix it to the land to make it real estate, it would cost like $2,000, which is fine, but I don't think it's relevant. Nobody cares, right? He doesn't care. Like for the next however long to raise his family, which is young, they're
Hmm.
going to be there. So it's not like resale. Yes, he should have fixed it to the land that they have like some sort of 8 point, I can't remember they call it.
And are you sure, Don, in case something was to happen, if you have to get this mobile home back, that you truly have an $80,000 piece of, security? You sure that that mobile home is worth $80,000 and the
Well, the
land?
mobile home is worth crap. No, it's
Right,
not.
right. But
It's
how
the
do you know
whole.
that it's worth $80,000? How do you know that?
Um, it's to me, it's worth it because he wants it. Like I said, if he
No,
not he
let's just say he doesn't make the payments and you
right,
basically have to not even foreclose because it's a land trust. You just basically go in there and somehow the sheriff goes in there and kicks him out or whatever. And let's just say
right,
now you own that piece of land.
right. So now we're in it at 65, really, right?
Right? Right? But
So
but do you
I'm
know if it's even worth 65?
Yeah, I that would be a low at least currently. Now I don't know, what will happen in the future, but currently that would be a slam dunk price for this because
Mm-hmm.
the lot itself would go for 60, 65,
Okay.
empty with water, sewer, and all that, city water
Mhm.
and sewer. So, but that's a good question, and I am taking a risk, and therefore that's why I don't feel bad taking whatever this is, 13.5, 14,000 up front, and arranging lower than average private money for him,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Plus, it sounds like it'd be a good deal for the gardener. It sounds like he's gonna be roughly paying a little bit more, but it's gonna be his own property in 7 years.
In 7 years, he owns it free and clear. What is he gonna? Okay, so now a guy, right now he's paying 450 or something like that for a crappy little rental. Okay, so he pays a little bit more, and 7 years from now he owns it free and clear. He's relaxed because look, clearly he can put money away. He's got 40,000 cash, and his brother owes him 30 that he lent him last year. So clearly he's putting money aside. So now there's a guy when he doesn't have to worry about a roof over his head, he feels secure. There's nobody that can come take the property because I'm thinking if he doesn't want me to be well, I wouldn't be the trustee because my name never goes on anything in public record. But let's say my daughter or my attorney, or maybe he wants the landlord whose employer to be the trustee on the trust. I don't really care. But here's a guy who, unless somebody's a complete fraudster, which no one in his world is at this point, between the landlord and me, um, he's going to be protected more than he would if it was even in his own name.
Who's servicing this loan?
I would do it. So
Are you
basically,
are you
so basically,
legally able to do it?
yeah, because I would own the property. I'll have 100% beneficial interest in the land trust. And I sell the beneficial interest to him on terms. So basically, I have a lease agreement with him. So he's going to have a lease agreement. I have the right to collect rents on something I own.
No, in the worst case scenario, can he come back or can anybody get in trouble because he's not a quote unquote legal person?
Is someone who doesn't want a lot of attention going to throw a big fit with me?
No, no, I'm just asking questions because we're always talking about Dodd-Frank and all the legalities and everything else, and people are trying to scare us left and right about making sure you dot your I's and crossing your T's. And supposedly now you're not supposed to service anything because there's all kinds of
Exactly.
laws against that and everything else.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not trying to be the Debbie Downer here.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no, no,
trying to
no. No,
understand.
this is perfect. I always appreciate your input. So please don't take it that way. It's, and I'm going to bring up, okay, but good point is, okay, here's the thing. In my mind, there's no golden hammer for you're never going to get sued. But I'm just throwing up, um, like distractions. Like the chance of me being in front of a judge is less and less because number one, it's a land trust and I'm selling a beneficial interest in a trust, which is personal property, not real property.
And the person doesn't even really own it. They're just leasing it until the last payment, right?
And they have an option. They're leasing it from me and they have at a certain term for terms. and
Yeah.
they have an option to buy the beneficial interest in the trust, basically. So there's no recorded deed of trust. So where's my
Right.
mortgage? Okay, basically, though, if we got in front of a judge, he'll go, walks like a duck, talks like a duck's a duck. And you should have done Dodd-Frank, blah, 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 blah. You didn't have the licensing. We award him the whole property free and clear. Partly I want the guy to own the property free and clear. I mean, there's a twisted sort of thing in there where I'm not that I want my investors or myself to lose money, but like, I don't lose when this guy owned the property free and clear. But the chances of someone, and I probably shouldn't put this out on, okay, I don't want my guy to get in trouble. I have to figure out how much of this is going to go out in public, but someone who doesn't want a lot of attention is not going to go in front of a judge who's going to say, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
where's your social security card or something like that. But that doesn't, so that's an excuse historically for a lot of Hispanics to get taken advantage of, which I always feel sick about. So
Yeah.
here's a real fair way that between his employer and me and my private investors and my knowing how to deal structure that limits liability for everyone, we're going to put a deal together for this guy. Now, like I said, at 5 o'clock, I was supposed to have an accepted offer. I don't. That's good. Because you know what? I think I can get this for $80,000 when they quit fighting amongst themselves and deciding it's okay to pay a 5% commission.
Yeah.
For these gals who are busting their butts to sell the property. That's why this didn't go down. It's because they're objecting to dual agency. Otherwise, their last offer, they got one offer at $82,000, but they needed financing, so it had to be affixed, and they don't want to spend the $2,000 to affix it to the land and make it real property.
Now,
So that
Don, let me ask you another question of what we're talking about right now, the whole deal here. Can this be done in an IRA because of the land trust, and you have to have your IRA really owning everything, or it cannot be done like this?
Well, I think it can. I mean, I would always defer to my custodian. Like if I was going to do this in a trust, I would just make my IRA the beneficiary of the trust.
But would you still do it with the same amount of money, or would you have to do it with like an option and just put like
I can do it.
on there?
I couldn't do it with my own IRA because there's too many chances of self-dealing and prohibited things. But if someone else's IRA came, I could probably hook them up with something if I wanted to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as long as I don't do a prohibited transaction, like I wouldn't do this on my own because my name and my company's all over the paperwork, the initial paperwork. The paper trail's too tedious or too dangerous. But I could hook someone else's up if I wanted to step out of it and say, for whatever it was, my take on this is I got 15,000 less closing costs, so call it 13,500 or 14,000. I'm going to stay on title. I'm going to protect it. I have the risk if something goes wrong. I have risk. I have liability. That's
Now,
why
if you don't record the deed of trust, if somebody's in
there's no
personal,
deed of trust. There's none. No deed of trust.
how come there's no deed of trust if it's a piece of
Oh,
land?
yeah. Oh, for my private lender, you're right. The private lender will have a deed of trust and a note signed by the trustee who has no personal liability
Mm-hmm.
because they're just the trustee. And so, or if they said, no, I want the beneficiary to sign it, great, then my company's signing it. Or whatever. I just opened a Note Queen LLC. I could do it in that because it's a Nevada LLC. So anyway, so I hope I get the numbers down even better so that I can give the property to him maybe for 95 instead of 100. Maybe I can juice up, my lender a little bit by giving them, sort of bonus on the front end for agreeing to make the payment arrangement happy for him. I'll figure out how everyone can be fairly compensated. But to me, this is, beyond, I used to just love only the financial calculator, and I still do get a charge out of it. But like after a while, that's boring. Like making money is awesome, but if there's not a bigger intangible reason and a sense of purpose, I know I'm a little strange, but like for me, I lose interest really quick unless it means something like this. So I don't know. I'm just sharing that it was so cool. But to me, this is the reason, like what I know how to do. Like my last half of my life, yes, I want to build a nest egg and a legacy for my family, but I want to leave one for my community because if this guy has an extra $600 per month expendable income that's not going for a mortgage or rent, and I spelled that wrong, then he spends more for eating out at the for clothes, for entertainment, for classes. So that's um, more money circulating in my community. And that's to me, that's why it's super fun to know how to do some of this stuff and to have develop the relationships of people who can catch the vision with me. And I don't know, just my whole thing is, you know, no queen capital, creating financial solutions, one mom and pop to another. I mean, that's my whole thing of why it matters. And I think a lot of you guys, feel the same way.
Well, you're helping your community, but you're also helping this guy to the extent that he's going to get to own a home in 7 years.
Yeah,
And
right.
most people will never be able to do that.
And he deserves it because, like, he saved his money. He's basically in the next 12 months can put $70,000 toward this.
Well, there's another way he can own the house in less than 7 years too. He can start charging all his clients more for cutting their lawn.
Yeah, okay, that comes into effect after. Yeah, or you know what? There's a lot of trades, right? Maybe yeah, exactly. But he also does like a ton of other things too. So, in my thinking these days, it's like, okay, he's solid for money and he doesn't want problems. I've never ever had a payment issue with a Hispanic person, whether they had a social security number or not. Never
Well,
ever.
I hear you. I hear you. They help out our society tremendously.
Right.
But you have honor and integrity.
Right. So they're like the salt of the earth, kind of like supporting some. I don't know who's going to pay for the social security of the rest of the baby boomers, but I don't know. Maybe there's issues that I'm overlooking, but this is just my window on the market because he's in my community. So this is the type of thing that I love doing, and other people have done it in their markets, and I always thought, I'm doing it by creating liquidity for the secondary market, but what if I could get involved in a more direct level and I'll just buy the property? And if I can get owner carry terms, that's so much the better because maybe the owner carry is happy at 4 or 5%, right? So I can pass on even better terms. But when I have to bring cash to the table and I have to pay investors something reasonable, but you can see it still is there's something fair that can be worked out. So this is just something that like just charges me up. So thanks for indulging me and listening and participating. But anything else before we kind of wrap up? I'm gonna try to
No. Are
unmute.
you still, Don, are you still planning on going to the Mogul next month in San Francisco here?
Yeah, I'm trying to hit at, like I said, for isn't it the Fridays? Let's bring that up.
Saturday, Sunday. 17th, I think 18th and 19th.
Yeah, 17, 18, and I'm probably going to be able to hit it for, I'm going to try to hit Friday, Saturday. I'll probably have to come home on Sunday.
Perfect.
So are you going? Are you on
I
camp?
am. I am. It's in my backyard, basically.
Yeah. Well,
And
once in your
I think
backyard
you're doing
after
some good
after
things
you
too. I think
move,
they have,
you'll have.
some good ideas and stuff. And I haven't invested with them, but we'll see what happens. I think they've got some good people.
Yeah, you know what? My daughter Christy's been working for them 20 hours a week for the last month.
And what does she say?
She's getting the exposure of a lifetime, and it's a lot, but she's learning so much. In fact, she comes back and said, "Okay, Mom, you know that one note we're having trouble with? Well, I'm going to take it over, and I'm going to make the calls, and I can do this now." She used to be shy and like, "You're not training me well enough." I said, "Well, it's just sort of baptizing by fire because I just learned by just doing stuff I don't know. So that's just how you learn. And now they're kind of doing the same thing to her too. And it's like a pretty quick, like, okay, you learn just by getting in there. And she's already had like 2 or 3 workouts, and they're like, wow, good for you. People that no one has made, progress with, where she's getting them
Wow.
to, get with the program, because she's smart, but she's really sweet, but she's got sort of a feisty side to her too. But so that blend is actually seems to be pretty good. So I'm thrilled, because now she knows, she'll come back and tell me stuff of what I should be doing on these other things, and I'm going, okay, great.
Well,
You get it.
she needs to start an IRA and get one of those funds or get one of those notes in her IRA.
Exactly. Exactly. But anyway, thanks so much for spending the evening with me. I appreciate you guys so much, and I look forward to the next time. So until then, y'all take care. Have a good one.
Bye, Don.
Thank you,
Have
Don.
fun.
All right. You too. Yeah. Happy 4th. Bye bye.